man. Shit just not going my way right now. Hold on. Yes, I do want to quit. Yo, mic check, mic check. What up, though? It's your boy Demigod, aka J Av, aka whatever the fuck you want to call me. I've been trying to get this shit right all night, and it wasn't really going my way. Let me fix that for you. Wasn't really going my way. I had a whole lineup. Of things to talk about, but I ain't got time to talk about them all now because it took me so long to figure this out. But it's my fault. But we ain't even gonna talk about that right now. Next week is gonna be way better and more official. Whatever. So, and I'm just gonna, like I said, I had a whole lineup of things I wanted to talk about, but I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna talk about the stuff that happened in the Joe Budden podcast, cause I'm a big fan of Joe Budden. That's my dude, my favorite rapper of all time. Like my favorite rapper. Hove obviously is 1B, but yeah. So if you haven't found out or if you haven't heard, a lot of bullshit going on with the Joe Budden podcast to where Rory and Maul were publicly fired, or at least Rory was. Maul's just gonna do whatever he wants, and I have the luxury of seeing the entire thing and being able to talk about everything at the same time. Might take me a little bit, but just bear with me for this one topic. We here. So we have a clear answer to why Rory and Maul were disgruntled, or why specifically Rory was and why Maul was. Maul and Rory has their own little whatever podcast thing that they did, and they explained it. I'm not gonna go back into the details of what happened in the beginning, because if you know, you know already. But after Rory and Maul had their little sit down and video that they charged niggas $2 for, it became clear that their percentage workers in the Joe Budden podcast, although Joe on his live today said that they're whatever's in the contract. We don't know what's in the contract. We're never gonna know what's in the contract, I guess, until somebody leaks the contract. But the main gist is, from the beginning, this has all been about friendship. Joe, and I understand Joe, because he's a Virgo. Now, I know a lot of motherfuckers ain't into astrology, anything like that. I do. But when it comes right down to it, I could kind of understand him getting the way that he did. And I'm not saying it's right. I've gotten that way a few times. So I know what he's feeling at that time. It's logical in his brain, but it's not logical at all. And a lot of people have been saying, Maul's being emotional and all this stuff. Joe was being emotional first. Let me just put it to you that way. Asking to see the books on some things that people haven't seen the books on in a couple years. I mean, even if they are percentage based, yes, they should see the books. So, even if the pod lost money, okay, if they're still getting the same money and they lost money on the pod, then it's all right. That's what it comes down to. but whatever the real, what's real, we don't know. We really don't. Maul and Rory can say whatever they want. We don't know what's in that contract. We don't know what they are. We ain't business majors or nothing like that. From what they're saying, $400,000 mistake happened last time. Haven't seen the book since then. They just wanted to see the books. On Joe's part, he should have just showed him the books. And he already admitted his leadership was already screwed up. He shouldn't have did none of that stuff. He shouldn't have talked to them the way he talked to them. He got emotional first. Is it his business? Yes. It is his business. He has the right to say no. However, everybody's looking at it through a lens of friendship. That's how they're looking at it because they're friends. And it's like, oh, would you do that to your friends? Some of y'all motherfuckers would. I'm going to tell you that right now. Some of y'all would. A lot of y'all niggas ain't as solid as y'all think y'all is. I'm just being real with you. A lot of y'all niggas is not as solid as y'all think y'all is. Money start rolling in. Shit get thick. And people start pocket watching. And then it's like, you know what I mean? Like, people like doing that. People just like doing that. The baseline of this is like, who was gonna break first? And let me remind you, even with Rory, it wasn't just about that anyway. Obviously, Joe be joking on Rory, and a lot of his personal stuff was getting out, and all that other shit. He's throwing personal stuff out there, and Rory didn't appreciate it. It's just like if you joking with your mans, and you said something, you touched on a subject he didn't want you to touch on, and he started getting really, really, really like annoyed with you. That's what boys do, man. I used to make fun of my boys all the time. With these two boys that I grew up with, and I made fun of them every day. I still talk about them to this day. I still talk about my man's mom. No, crazy. Not bad. Like, I don't call her out her name and like that. Like, you know, yeah, your mom's. Like, yeah, your mom's. You know what I mean? But let's get back on track. Rory was already like feeling salty on Joe off of other shit. It wasn't just the books. It wasn't just that. Let's be clear. Part of it had to do with that. Part of it had to do with the personal shots he was taking to him on the pod. Maul's gripe is the whole respect thing and not being able to see some stuff and telling him that the pod isn't his business. Now, is the pod based off of Joe's 21-year career? Yes. Did it get as big? Did the pod get as big as it was because of Joe Budden by himself? No. It was because of the chemistry. The chemistry of three friends just kicking it, talking, and having a good time, talking about music and life and all the other. Man, you can go on YouTube right now and see a whole bunch of compilations on just random shit that happened between them. That's what made the pod. And a lot of other people like to emulate that. They try to emulate it and they can't because they picking and choosing people, and you know what I mean? And it's not real. Joe, the main guy, Rory, the one that he makes fun of all the time, and Maul, the cool nigga that don't say much. That's pretty much how that ran, and it worked, and they became the biggest podcast in the world. What comes with that, though, with that growth, is, I guess, the entitlement. It grows because it's at some point those books would have had to got seen, had new deals came in and all the other. Like, why wouldn't, especially if they are based off a percentage, they will want to see those books. They would want to, especially when it was time to renegotiate. If they had only a year left and then they would renegotiate, you don't think they was gonna ask to see them books? But the biggest thing is that Joe should have just showed him the books. If if he doesn't have anything to do with it, and accounting has everything, they have all the stuff. If accounting fucks up again with a whole another 400K missing or wherever it was at, it's missing or it's fucked up. And then you gotta go after the accounting people. See, I just think Joe is so control hungry, and I say that, like, I say that because that's just what it looks like, and I know how a Virgo walks, and I'm the same way. I have to have some sort of control over some shit, and his control was the pod. He can't control people. You know what I mean? If Parks don't got no contract and Ian don't got no contract, none of them dudes got contracts over there, he don't really control them. But, you know, the main part of the pod is him and them two. They're the ones on the screen. They're the ones' faces is on YouTube and Patreon. So what it all boils down to is, before I was leaning more towards Joe because he's the owner. He's the owner. He can do whatever he sees fit. If he don't want to show you nothing, he don't want to show you. But after listening to Rory and Maul's take, and they don't have a reason to lie. Now, if they believe that they were percentage, and Joe is sitting there saying no, they weren't percentage, now it's like, who's lying? The whole thing is messy. Joe compartmentalized the whole thing and separated business and friendship, and I get that. But you can't do your friends the favor of paying them more, and then, because you did that out of friendship, now you done leaked it in. I say this all the time, and I say it to people at my job. I say this to everybody, all my friends and shit. Working with somebody that you are in some type of relationship with, working with your friends, it never ends well. I don't, like, I go to work, do my job, come home. That's all I do. That's all I want to do. My friends are not at that job. I mean, I'm not even going to say that. I have really good friends at the job because we became really good friends. But we know how to separate work from friendship. When it's time to work, it's time to work. And anything that has to do with work, whatever. You the supervisor, I'm the worker, or you the worker, I'm the worker. You do what you do, I do what I do. I ain't getting in trouble for nobody. If I do something for, like, myself, all right. But I'd never ask anybody to stick their neck out for me. Joe stuck his neck out for them by paying them more. At least that's what he says. They just wanted to see something that reassured them that they were getting paid right, because they, especially if you're supposed to see accounting quarterly, then like I said, it all really boils down to the dude he should have just showed it to him. It would have caused a whole lot less of a problem, especially if they are his boys. He made it more difficult than it had to be. That's it. He just made it way more difficult than it had to be. He had to do all that. He didn't have to scream on people. He had to get offended by Rory talking to Title people and then Title already talking to him. He like he's too old for that. He didn't have to. But he's a grown ass man. He could do whatever he wants. It's his podcast. So I can't fault Joe for any of this because it's his shit. Who's anybody to tell him that it's wrong for him to decide to do that? However, it's code. There's codes to this. You treat people how you want to be treated. You do the things you want people to do for you. And that's that. Most people are sick of Joe and Joe blowing up all his friendships, relationships, like he's responsible for it. Because he be getting inside his own fedora, whatever, wearing them big ass hats. But that's him. He's an individual. But at the same time, we still don't have all the answers. We have a bulk of it now. But what else is there? They felt a ways because he went off on them. They felt the type of way because he went off on them. Rory has a problem with the shit Joe be saying, and because of the books, of the accounting. Rory is mad because of the accounting. Joe blew up on both of them because they wanted to see the accounting. Joe wouldn't show them nothing. And then Joe showed them something. And I guess they wasn't happy with it. So, I mean, what else is there? Joe can handle his situations how he wants to handle them. He did apologize for how he handled it. He did apologize for everything that he did. He knows that he got too emotional. He knows he was hurt and said a lot of things out of hurt. And that's it. What else you want the man to do? Rehire him? That wall is still too high for them to be doing that. Firing them on air was crazy. But at the end of the day, I see both sides. I see why Rory and Maul is upset, especially about the books. If I'm a percentage partner, I want to see every single cent that is coming into this bitch, and I want to know what that my cut is great. And telling him to go get a calculator, you still need numbers for a calculator. How much did the pod get? Net. How much did they get? Gross. The percentage of what goes here, a percentage of what goes there, and after that leaves my percentage. I want to know what that percentage is. I don't know what that percentage is because I don't know what percentage everything else is getting. All this could have been avoided. Even I know that. Is it cool to be Joe Budden's friend? Yeah. He's stuck in his Virgo ways and doesn't see a way or a reason to compromise it. And you would tell people, nah, you don't need to compromise yourself. Be the person that you are, and people accept it, then they accept it. If they don't, they can kick the fuck rocks. Do that. I understand it, because I would say the same thing. If you don't like me for me, suck a dick. But I also won't treat my friends like they're second class citizens. I would never, like, if I did this again and I had a co host like I wanted to but couldn't get one yet, why would I treat them like a subhuman? Like, nah, you can't see some shit. If I'm already helping you out by giving you a whole bunch of money and we don't have any, then I'm taking less than what I should be taking to cover y'all. Why wouldn't I just let you see that? Now, yeah, go ahead. Look at the books. Go ahead and look at the books. Go ahead. Look at all the books you want. See how much I am giving you as my peoples. That's basically what it comes down to. It's basically all this. But that's just me. Joe Budden can do whatever Joe Budden wants to do. It's his business. If he don't want to show anybody the accounting, I guess he's within his full right to do it. That doesn't make it right. So, like I said, I see both sides of the situation. I'm not siding with either one. Because, like I said, I understand both sides. It was fucked up getting fired on air. It was fucked up not seeing the books. I would want to see the books. I think Rory and Maul made the right call by stepping away, because they can go on and do their own thing now. Joe can bring Ice and Ish on there instead of having the Patreon one. Or keep the Patreon one. Either one. And everything's going to move forward. That's the thing. A lot of people are bitching and complaining and moaning. And dog, y'all will be all right. Joe is just fine. Rory and Maul are just fine. They personal beefs ain't got shit to do with y'all, and they may or may not fix it. All we know is for deaf sure is that they're not coming back to the Joe Budden podcast. And if they do, oh, it'll be a great day. But I don't see it happening in the near future. So we just gotta accept it and move on. And a lot of people were liking Ice and Ish anyway. So whatever. Do y'all thing. But listen, like I said, I had a whole lineup. But I'm not doing it tonight. This is just a short video of me giving my thoughts on the Joe Budden podcast Fallout. Rory and Maul have their video out. Don't know where it's at. I bootlegged it. Joe Budden was on live earlier today explaining this other crap that he was talking about. I don't know. He's trying to explain to people, in his words, the couch lawyers, the couch executives, everybody out there that thinks they know something, because we don't know shit. We don't know what that contract says. We don't know if Rory and Maul are looking at it through a different lens, and they're giving us what their truth is. And they say it's the truth. But again, we don't know what that contract says. I'm going to believe them because they have no reason to lie. They're off the pod. They don't have a pod. Fuck they need to lie for. But we'll be fine. The pod will go on. And 1,000,000 new pods are going to come up within the next 6 months, including mine, which it doesn't have a name yet. I thought I did have a name, but it doesn't have a name yet. And I'm trying to see if I can get this real camera set up. I'm using a webcam right now. But it's going to get real interesting. I'm going to have guests on the show, call in. They can't come here. Nah. Maybe one day, but not today. And not tomorrow. Not next week. Not next month. But next week I will be doing a longer video pod. Maybe a video, maybe it'll just be audio. I gotta pretty much figure out. Today was just a clusterfuck of shit. Oh, whatever. But that's my thought on the Joe Budden podcast. Joe could have did this and handled it a lot better than he did. He knows that. Rory and Maul, I understand where y'all coming from. And I don't blame you. Do your thing. Do what makes y'all happy. At the end of the day, happiness is all that we have, and we have to hold on to that shit. For real. Really gotta hold on to that shit. But I don't know if y'all can tell I'm tired as fuck. So I'm about to get up out of here. Yo, I'll see y'all next week. Next Sunday, y'all will see another video from me, and it'll be an entire lineup of shit like I put on Facebook. Probably will be that Facebook. I mean, the Facebook post, what I posted, it'll probably be that again. Because I'm pretty sure during this week, we're going to get a lot more stuff from this Joe Budden stuff. Maybe not a lot, because all the cards are on the table right now. But I'm sure on Wednesday, when the new pod drops for Joe Budden, we'll get some more. We'll definitely get some more. But, all right, man. I'm out of here. Until next time. Love yourselves. And love others. Keep loving your heart. But as for me, fuck y'all. I'm out. Peace.